Hey, you. You listen to Crips and Corks every week. Well, what if I told you that you have the chance to see us live and unedited?
That's right. We're going to be live on the main stage at the Purportedly Theater right here in Pittsburgh, PA.
We're going back to the beginning by covering the topic of our second episode, the Amityville Whorehouse, and all new facts and features.
But DJ, what if I can't make it there in person?
Well, lucky for you, we are offering special streaming tickets so that you can watch from the comfort of your own home if you can't make it on the day or if you don't live in the Pittsburgh tri-state area.
Wait, you mean I can watch from my bathtub?
Yeah.
Or from behind the Wendy's?
I guess so.
Wait, so I can watch...
Paul, leave it to their imagination. So go to the link in our description below to get your tickets today, and we'll see you there.
Also, BYOB tickets are available for those in person.
And now for this week's regularly scheduled episode. Hi, Dana. It's your sister-in-law, Cheryl. I'm calling because I got a favor I need to ask. I'm down here at the casino, and I did it again. I gambled the car away, and I need you to not tell Earl Ray, and you can't tell my brother. But can you come pick me up? Because not only did I gamble my car away, I also gambled away my Uber app. So I need you to come pick me up, and on the way home we can stop at the Piggly Wiggly, because I got a coupon that I can give you to repay you back for picking me up. Give me a call back when you're on your way. This is Cheryl, your sister-in-law. Bye, Dana.
Oh my god, not gambling away the whole Uber app. Bitch, they took it straight from our phone, girl.
And welcome back to Crips and Corks. Cheryl has returned and apparently has a gambling problem. I'm your host, DJ, here with my co-host,
Paul, as usual.
Can I just say, Paul, I'm so glad that you survived the bubonic plague. I was really worried there for a minute.
I was so sick, you guys. And you know, I had to have been super sick to miss an episode because I have not missed an episode in 77 episodes.
I will say it did really work out, though, because our Mike, thank you, Mike, for jumping in to be a guest co-host. He and I were supposed to be working on our initial plan for next month's Uncorked.
Right.
But when, or I guess this April Uncorked, because I think this comes out next weekend, which is April already.
Oh, yeah, This is our first April episode.
Yes, happy April.
And we're when this comes out, it'll be like 1 week away from our show?
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Jeez, oh my god.
We'll plug that in a second.
Okay, cool. That's so crazy. That's so shit.
Yeah,
oh, girl, that's
Jesus
so
Christ.
close.
You get in a hot flash, like a stress
yes.
hot flash.
Oh my god, it's so close.
But he and I were supposed to do the initial idea that I had for Uncorked, which maybe we'll utilize again in the future. And we were supposed to record on Saturday, and you said you weren't feeling up to it, and then on Sunday you called me, and you sounded like death, and so I'm like texting Mike, like, hey, I know you agreed to just half an hour, but could you actually give me an hour and a half so we can record a whole episode?
Right, oh my god, I was dying, and when I told DJ I was that sick, DJ in all his grace, he took time out of his day to drive over and beat me and say, no matter how sick I am, I still have to edit. And he took every medicine that I had in my medicine cabinet, shoved it down my throat, and when I tried to throw it back up, he beat me more. So, friendship. It was really a bonding experience. And when I still wasn't out of bed on Monday, he took the time to cyberbully my grandparents on Facebook. So it really was a healing experience.
Aren't your grandparents dead?
There's still one left.
Oh,
There's still one grandparent left, girl.
Are they on Facebook?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. This is a hard-hitting journalism podcast. We're getting the truth that matters. Well, I am at any rate.
Right.
I'm CNN, Paul's Fox News.
Not me. I'm not Fox News.
Yes, spitting out fake news over there. DJ's beating me.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, Paul, is that your week that you were just sick and in bed?
Yeah, that's all I did. I was sick and I tried to recover. Get your flu shot, kids, because that shit is not a joke. When they're See, I thought the flu shot was kind of like a myth. Kind of like Bigfoot or John McCain. Just old wives' tales. But girl, it's not a myth. That flu will get you, okay?
I'm surprised you think John McCain's a myth after your love affair with him over the USS Indianapolis. No, that wasn't the Indianapolis.
No!
That was
come on, the Forrestal.
The Indianapolis sank. Okay.
We missed one goddamn week together. You forget your episode. In an episode you did.
I know. I said another Navy ship. And it was the right country.
Oh my god.
You're lucky I didn't start spouting off Royal Navy ships.
Right. Oh my god.
How was my week?
Yeah.
You were just about to ask. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
It was fine. I spent a lot of it doing work for our live show, which is coming up exactly 1 week from today. There is still time to get your tickets. You can get them for streaming if you're not in the Pittsburgh tri-state area, or if you are, or you want to come to the area just for this, you can get in-person tickets, and there's also a $5 BYOB extra edition. And since we're 1 week out, I think we can finally say
yes,
that we're going back to our roots, baby. We will be drinking Apothic Inferno just like we did on episode 2 for the Amityville Horror, the original. So please get a bottle and drink with us. We're going to have our bottle, so drink with us.
For sure, for sure. And just real quick before we move on, I just want to real quick again thank Mike for covering for me while I was having scurvy and all sorts of things. So thank you again, Mike. And yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mike, for jumping in while Paul was dealing with unspeakable horrors. Horrors, not whores, although he has dealt with some unspeakable horrors before.
Mainly one.
I deserve that. Do you have anything for Pop Culture Corner today?
Oh my god, yes. There's so much going on in Pop Culture Corner, actually. So, first off, we might have to go speed round through it. So, first off, Troye Sivan came out at a Dua Lipa concert, right? And there was an unreleased version of Physical by Dua Lipa that had Troye Sivan on it. And that bitch brought out a flash drive and tossed it into the audience to leak it. So she said, that unreleased song is on this flash drive. I'm going to toss it to one lucky person, and if they leak it, they leak it. And thank God that person leaked it, and we got to hear that unreleased Physical featuring Troye Sivan. Was it a good song? Not really.
I have time for a hot take.
Yeah.
On the one hand, how chaotic, but also what great marketing. Like, it's just chaotic enough to get into the news.
Right.
Like, it's enough, like, I have an unreleased version of the song with Troye Sivan, but the way she did it just, like, took it from, like, page 3 to above the fold front page.
Right, just tossing a flash drive of it into the audience. Like, that's so...
Who uses flash drives even still?
No one does. That's why it adds to the lore.
Yeah.
It's iconic, you know? Moving right along here, Aaron Goodwin from Ghost Adventure's wife tried to kill him.
Yeah.
She put out a hit on him. And you know what's even more crazy? Is Aaron thought he was in a happy marriage. He thought everything was going well. Meanwhile, his whole wife is talking to some dude in jail, trying to get a hit put out on her husband. She hired someone to kill her husband for $11,000, which I think is a little low for a hit. Especially for like
a celebrity.
Right, exactly.
Because I think for like, if I wanted to put a hit out on you, I think like I'd have to pay like 10.
Right. So for a celebrity, for 20, 25.
I think like 50.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 100, depending on like what level celebrity. Celebrity.
No. I bet Zach.
Also, Zach is going to capitalize on this and be we know Aaron has attachments. The attachments have transferred to his now ex-wife.
Right.
He's not going to let this rest. He's just going to be like, Aaron's not on this season. He's in divorce court because his wife got possessed by a demon.
Right. And you know what? Zach was probably bad too, because if he would have died, he would have had a real ghost adventure. I stole that joke from the last podcast from the left, but still, he really would have had a ghost adventure if Aaron would have got a hit put on him and really got dead.
Oh, that's okay. I'm going to steal a joke from another podcast today, too.
And that's okay. You know, as long as we credit them, it's fine. But yeah, that's crazy. Like, could you imagine? You think you're in a happy marriage, and meanwhile, she's trying to put a hit out on you, girl. That's insane.
It really reminds me of us.
Are you trying to kill me, bitch?
I didn't say that.
But you didn't not say it, which is even more saying it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's crazy about you, girl.
Oh, I've missed you.
I missed this too. This was fun. It's been too long.
It has been too long.
Girl, and if you want to see this live again, come see our live show or see it online streaming.
Also, for Extra Unhinged, Paul and I did not, because Paul was so sick, we did not talk other than, how are you feeling, for a full week.
Yeah, it's been a lot. There's a lot of tea that has to be spilt, okay? Not on the podcast, of course, because, of course, we gossip about all of our friends, family, and all sorts of things that we can't talk about on the podcast.
Oh, by the way, speaking of tea, did I tell you what Mike told me before we started recording? Wait, I can't say that on camera.
Ooh. All right. Anyway, moving on.
That was a joke, so you can leave that in. Because he didn't tell me anything before I started recording.
Period.
Are you finished?
Yep. Usually I finish a lot more wet, but today it's a little dry, so I think we're good to make it a little more wet with today's beverage.
Yes, we are. Today, we have a Pinot Noir from Naomi Bright. It is a California. Let me see. There's a front and a back.
Ooh, I prefer the back.
I know you like it from the back. Unifying grapes from California's most notable wine regions, our vineyards offer the true expression of their appellations.
Appellation? Like the mountain?
Appellations, not appellations. Appellations.
Don't know what that means,
Neither
but don't care enough to look it up.
Carefully blended to unveil complex and rich flavors, the wine lends an elegant balance of spice and fruit, weight and restraint. And it's only 90 calories per glass.
Hot.
Let's see what the back says. At only 90 calories per serving and 8% alcohol per volume, Naomi Bright Pinot Noir is a lower alcohol, full-bodied Pinot Noir with a fruity character, silky texture, balanced acidity. Embodying the characters of California's most notable wine-growing regions, the wine is carefully crafted to deliver a full flavor experience with lifted aromas of jammy fruit and toasty oak, followed by expressive notes of dark berry, juicy strawberry, and toasty mocha.
Toasty mocha.
Yeah, sorry, I did not realize that this was a lower alcohol bottle. I only got it because of the...
Girl, that's 8%. That's like a Four Loko.
Is that?
Yeah. I think so.
Anyways, let's crack into it.
You're too proud of that, bitch. The way you looked at me, you were too proud of that.
Because I didn't think I was going to get it open on the first time, and it went a lot more smoothly than I thought. ASMR pour.
And this is my first drink since I've been sick, so we're gonna see how this goes.
Oh, I also did not realize that this was a clear bottle.
Right, I thought it was a black bottle.
So did I. It is, well, Pinot Noir is a darker, drier wine. Oh, so classy.
That's very dry. Ooh. Take a sniff of that. Ooh, girl.
That's gonna put hair on your chest. If you want to go from twink to bear, drink this. Okay, not as dry as it smells.
No.
I'm gonna give that a 4.5. I actually really like that.
It's pretty okay. I'm gonna give it 3 grapes. Not my favorite. Not my most favorite dry wine.
I don't think it's that dry.
It's really not. That's why I'm giving it 3.
I've had Pinot Noirs that were far drier.
I think I still have a little bit of like sick taste buds.
Oh yeah, that's the
So
worst.
it tastes like a little off. I don't think I'm getting the full flavor that I usually would.
No, it's very nice.
I'm gonna give it a 3. It tastes a little bit like jam.
Well, it does have jammy fruit in it.
Yeah.
And you don't like fruit.
Would I drink it again? Maybe not. Probably not. Probably wouldn't get it on purpose.
You know, this would make a nice sangria.
That would, girl.
Like, add some fresh fruit and, like, a little Prosecco in there.
Sangria would be a pretty name for a girl. Oh my god.
So would Prosecco.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, bitch. You
know.
read my mind, girl.
Did.
No, I was just about to say it. Then for a boy, I do like Jameson for a boy. I think that's a good
Not Jack Daniels.
But it would just be Jack. Well, I guess Jack and then Daniels for the middle name. Sorry, guys. I have to keep waking up my computer, making sure she's still recording, you know?
It's okay. All right, and we're back.
Period. Welcome back. Y'all, little technical difficulties. Never put anyone behind. We're back, bitches.
Oh, well, now that we're back, Paul.
DJ.
Let me tell you a story.
Let's get into it.
The woman sat in the dark room, crying over the now empty crib. As she cried mournfully, she noticed a flicker of the gas lamps, despite the fact that it was a still night, and the air in the room was thick with grief and stuffiness. She heard footsteps, even though she knew she was now the only person left in the house, and she realized that she was not alone, that there was someone, nay, something, with her. And in that moment, through her grief, she realized the home was cursed. Today, we will be discussing America's most haunted house, the Whaley House.
Interesting. See, I've never heard of the Whaley House.
You've never heard of the Whaley House?
No, and I'm someone who would like to think I'm pretty well versed in haunted houses.
I don't know, because I bring up a lot of, like, haunted shit, and you go, what's that?
That does happen, but I feel like now, these days, I'm very well versed. And for it to claim to be the most haunted house in America, I feel like I would at least know about it, but also, like, doesn't every house claim to be the haunted house of... most haunted house of this, or the most haunted house of that? No.
Anyways, what is the Whaley House? I'm glad you asked, Paul. It is a historic home in the Old Town neighborhood of San Diego.
Oh, where the gays are.
Yeah. I think you're talking about...
That's Francisco, my bad.
We do talk about San Francisco as well.
Period.
Sorry, I gotta get the size a little bit bigger on my screen.
Oh.
I am blind! It is a brick home built in the Greek Revival style.
Ooh, I don't know anything about architecture, but fun.
It sounds fancy. It is one of, if not the oldest structure in San Diego, and has seen most of the city's history. And it is designated California Historical Landmark number 65.
4 away from being good old 69. What a missed opportunity.
I know, and 64 away from being 1.
Oh. Well, who cares about 1? I'd rather have 69 than 1.
I don't know. I prefer to be number 1, and if I can't be number 1, I want to be number 69.
I don't know. I think I'd prefer 69 over 1.
That's very you-coded.
It is very me-coded.
But both Travel Channel and Life magazine have called the Whaley House the most haunted house in America.
Well, if it's the Travel Channel, it must be true.
Probably Zach Bagans.
Great.
Now, despite its modern-day prestige, it actually has a very dark history. The property actually started out as being the site of the San Diego gallows. Do you know what gallows are?
Yeah, it's the sound a horse makes.
That's gallop.
Oh.
Gallows is where, like, people get hanged from.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It had its
Me
most...
too.
You're thinking of being hung.
You got me again, girl. Whoops.
You hang a picture on the wall. Wait.
Girl, we don't need to get into geometry.
No.
The kids don't need to know about the math and the grammar or whatever the fuck.
Anyways, one of the site's most prominent and well-known executions was the 1852 execution of James Yankee Jim Robinson.
And you know what? I'm still not over that. It's a very sensitive subject for me.
Do you want me to skip over it? Oh, that actually gives me this... What's it called? Trigger alert. This story contains discussions of being held at gunpoint, execution via hanging, and suicide.
Period. Okay, so he was executed for hanging for what?
He was executed by hanging because he stole a boat.
Right up your alley. Lord knows you love a boat story. We can't ever get away from the goddamn boats on this podcast.
So Yankee Jim actually protested against being hanged for this relatively minor crime. However, he was a fairly infamous thief in the area, known for stealing a lot of different things. He may have actually committed a couple murders in the course of his thieving.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they just used this, there wasn't enough evidence to hang him for murder and the other things, but they had enough evidence that he stole this boat, so they figured, we're going to hang him for this to get rid of him.
Sometimes you gotta get him while you can, I guess.
So he was taken from the courthouse in a cart drawn by 2 mules. And they got to the side of the gallows, and they put the noose around him, and then they slapped the mules on the ass to move it. And so you'd think that he would fall out of the cart and he would get hanged.
Yeah.
Except Yankee Jim was 6'4", and the rope was too long, so he was actually able to kind of stretch himself to stay into the cart until 2 men got into the cart and pushed him out, at which point he swung like a pendulum. But because the rope was so long and he was so tall, he was able to brush the ground with his tiptoes and fought for air for 45 minutes before he finally died.
That's awful. That's terrible. They should have measured that rope or something.
So this actually happened 20 years. So this was the short drop method of hanging, which was common until about 15, 20 years after this, when they developed the short drop, where you would measure the rope to be a fairly short drop, so that when whatever was underneath you was pulled away, it would be pulled away very quickly. And the force of the drop and the stop would break your neck, killing you instantaneously, so that you wouldn't hang there for 45 minutes trying to get your footing underneath you.
Honestly, that 45-minute thing, that might have just been on him, too. Because at what point do you just give up and be like, hey, they want me dead, girl?
But, strangulation's terrible because your body, there's a failsafe in the human mind where, you can't drown yourself alone. You have to, have something helping you, whether it's a weight or something, because there's a failsafe where either your body will knock you out so you float to the surface, or in this case, your body's going to fight until it has, nothing left in it.
Okay, that makes sense. I got you there. Okay.
Anyways, back then, hangings were I don't know, MTV.
Right. People would go and watch.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Coliseum.
Yes, exactly, because entertainment, they didn't have TV.
No.
Well, in the crowd that day was local businessman Thomas Whaley. Thomas was born in New York City and had traveled to California to capitalize on the gold rush by opening a general store. In 1853, following his store burning down, he returned to New York and married his sweetheart, Anna Eloise Delaunay, and the two returned to San Diego, where they decided to set up shop. And Thomas, looking for cheap property on which he could build his home and business, he bought the former site of the gallows where Yankee Jim was hanged and designed a home for himself.
Okay.
Because it was cheap.
And we know how that goes. Like, if you know anything about buying cheap homes, there's a reason why they're fucking cheap.
Well, cheap property.
Well, cheap property, yeah.
It was an expensive home. The family did move in 1857. Thomas and Anna were now joined by their 2 children, Francis and Thomas Jr.
Okay. No thoughts yet.
It was described by contemporary reporters as the finest brick building in Southern California, with the bricks being made by Thomas's own brickyard within the city. However, it should be noticed that it was the first brick building in California, so the fact that they were calling it the finest is kind of...
It's the one and only.
It's the only, so of course it's the finest.
Right.
I'm pretty sure if I built a brick house in your living room, it's the only brick house in your living room, therefore it'd be the finest brick house in your living room.
Exactly.
But Thomas did boast, "My new house, when completed, will be the handsomest, most comfortable and convenient place in town or within 150 miles of here." He furnished the home with fine mahogany and rosewood furniture, carpets from Brussels, and silk damask curtains. And though the house is considered fairly small by today's standards, it was considered a mansion for the time. The property also played host to a general store and a granary, and cost $10,000 to build.
Which I imagine is a lot more, like if you...
Yeah.
Like, our money. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I imagine back then it was probably a ton of money.
I think it's like $1 million today. I don't know. We're not going to get into the inflation.
Right.
However, the family would not have many happy days in the house at this time. Immediately, the family began to experience paranormal phenomena in the home. Throughout the house, they could hear footsteps and loud bangs in empty rooms. This especially happened in the living room, where there is an archway between the formal living room and the back parlor, which is said to be where the gallows where Yankee Jim was hanged.
Girl, could you imagine? People were hanged in your living room. That's crazy. You're just sitting there watching TV and you have to sit there knowing, like, criminals
Well, they didn't have
TV,
there. So just sitting there doing your needlepoint.
Right, you're doing your needlepoint and people were just hanged there.
And immediately, the family did attribute the sounds to the ghost of Yankee Jim.
So, I imagine... So, Yankee Jim is, like, the most famous person who was hung there?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to talk about any other people who are hung there, or just Yankee Jim?
Just Yankee Jim.
He's the only one that matters. Fuck all those other guys that were hung.
It was near a cemetery, too. That's why they had the gallows there. It was very close to the cemetery.
You know, one-stop shop. Get her done. I appreciate the efficiency.
But that was not all they experienced, because they soon had a spate of bad luck. Anna Whaley later said it was around this time she began to believe the home was cursed. Because in early 1858, Thomas Jr. died of scarlet fever, aged only 18 months. Just 5 months after the family moved in. So he was like a year and a month old when they moved in, and he like didn't even make it a full 6 months.
Dang. Maybe it was a drafty house.
And a short time later... Well, Southern California, is there really drafts there?
I imagine. Maybe back at then before global warming. I don't know.
Maybe. And then a short time later, Thomas's general store burnt to the ground. Again.
Damn. That sucks.
The combined grief and loss of the store led Thomas and Anna, who was pregnant with their 3rd child, to leave the home and move to San Francisco. And they left the home vacant. But they were very busy during this time. Together they would have 4 more children while in San Francisco: Anna Amelia, George, Violet, and Corinne. In 1867, Thomas assisted in the American takeover of Alaska. He built general stores in Sitka, helped establish an American military base, and served as a councilman.
Busy guy. Got a lot going on. Got lots of building, lots of taking over.
Yeah.
More credit to her, girl.
But in 1868, an earthquake struck San Francisco, and the family decided to move back into the brick home in San Diego.
Was this the great earthquake of the big earthquake?
No.
Okay.
This was just a little one.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure it was big for the time. But I mean, I say that about every guy I date.
It's big for the time.
It's big for the time. But then it's after fact where I go, that was the great San Francisco earthquake of 1906, and he rocked my world.
How is your dad?
Fine, thank you. How's yours?
Okay. Anyway.
They established another general store in the property, this time within the home, and rented the granary out to serve as San Diego's second county courthouse. They also rented out 3 of the upstairs bedrooms to the city and county to serve as record storage. And this is the... Okay, I have one more point here, and then I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's a hypothetical, so you don't have to have an answer. They also rented rooms to the Tanner Troupe Theater, which turned one of the upstairs bedrooms into San Diego's first commercial theater. The room was converted to include a stage and a few benches, and 150 people were fit into the room for the performance. Advertisements encouraged women to not wear hoop skirts or petticoats to allow for more people to fit in. The theater was short-lived, though, when the owner of the troupe, Thomas Tanner, died 17 days after the play opened, and within a few months the troupe disbanded. And I want to ask, I'm going to show you pictures of this house at the end.
Okay.
And it's, like I said, it's not a very big house by today's standards. How are you running a general store, a courthouse, record storage, and a theater, and still living here with your 5 kids?
Right, there's a lot going on. And didn't he say, they were, letting, the theater troupe, live
there?
Bitch, how are you
But I think they were living, in the room they were using as a theater.
Girl, I wouldn't trust all these people living around my kids either, okay? This isn't... Something's not sitting right with me here about that.
But Thomas Whaley was an innovator doing all this renting while he has, a successful business out of the front of the house. In 1871, the county decided that they were going to move the seat of government from Old Town to New Town. What a clever name for the new neighborhood.
Right, they really racked the brain for that one, girl.
Now, prior to this, Thomas had offered to sell the home to the county several times, as they were already renting rooms there to use as offices and storage. However, the county declined. Then, the government informed Thomas that they would be vacating the property to move to their new offices in Newtown, and that they were going to break the lease and not pay him the remainder of it, despite the fact that they had a legally binding contract. Thomas refused and said that they would have to either continue renting out through the end of the lease or buy it out.
Right, it's a legal document, girl.
Yeah. Well, on March 31st of that year, while Thomas was out of town, Newtowners violently raided the home to confiscate the records and office furniture and held Anna at gunpoint on the 9th step of the staircase to prevent her from interfering with their raid.
The 9th step is so specific. Who was counting?
I don't know.
See, I feel like that part is made up because, who's really counting? They got my daughter on the fucking 9th step. Who's counting? You're focused on your daughter being held at gunpoint, not what number step she's on. Well, wife, yes, sorry about that.
I will get into this later. I think it's modern day interpretation.
Girl, what's the interpretation?
Because you feel stuff there on the 9th step. And so I think, after the fact, they counted.
See, how did they count, though? Bitch, where's the proof?
No, I mean, they're on a certain step of the staircase, you feel shit.
Right, so since they're just feeling shit there,
yes,
they're just saying
it's the 9th step, but who knows where she was held at gunpoint.
Exactly. The 9th step is too specific.
Oh, it's just a legend, Paul.
I know! That's what I'm getting at! Where's the proof?
And suddenly, Paul is seen in. Now, while all this is going on, he's running businesses and theaters, and he's getting raided by the government.
Right.
Sounds like today. Shit was going on still within the house with the disembodied footsteps, the banging, the clanging.
And that's just the parents' bedroom.
Well, they did have 6 children all in all.
Right. There was a lot of banging and clanging going down there. Okay. And I bet it was like a hot dog in a hallway.
Clang went the trolley. Ding, ding, ding went the bell.
What if that was old-timey foreplay? They were like, you ready for
Judy
some...
Garland songs?
Yes. They were like, do you want to be my trolley? You want some clang,
I
clang?
don't think they had trolleys.
You want the bang, bang?
Did they know what trolleys were in 1872?
Girl, do I look like I know what they were doing in goddamn 1852?
I think they were lucky to know what a train was. I'm pretty sure Thomas Whaley had to come out on a covered wagon.
Girl, that's none of my business, okay?
He's just lucky to die of dysentery like on the Oregon Trail.
Girl, the OG Oregon Trail player. He's the OG Oregon Trail guy.
Now, Anna continued to maintain that the house was cursed, and this is why the family was full of, experienced extreme, misfortune. The raids, the owner of the theater troupe dying on the property.
Girl, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe some of this curse could be chalked up to maybe the father wasn't a great person, because a lot of excuse me, I'm so sorry. A lot of business people aren't the best people, so maybe a lot of this misfortune...
I didn't hear anything about him being a terrible business person or terrible person. I don't think he was the greatest business person because a number of his stores did burn down, and later in life he ended up selling them all to go into real estate, and he ended up going broke because he wasn't a very good real estate developer.
Damn, sounds like someone we know.
In 1882, also the air horn in the background is insane.
Right, what is this air horn?
I don't know if the microphones are picking it up.
But every, 10 minutes, there's an air horn outside of my home.
Yeah, Paul lives in a public place.
Yeah, and there's lots of, some
activity
things going on, and God only knows what's going on out there right now.
So in 1882, the family's two eldest daughters, Anna Amelia and Violet, were married. Not together.
Damn!
Don't worry, there is a little bit of incest because Anna Amelia married her first cousin, John T. Whaley.
Oh, they're cousin plowing. Okay,
Yeah.
Come on, West Virginia.
They said, I want my kid to have 6 fingers and 3 eyes.
Right.
Meanwhile, Violet married George T. Bertolacci.
Yeah.
Not an Italian.
Are you racist against Italians again?
No, I am Italian, but during this time.
Mm-hmm. I'm watching you.
However, within days of the wedding, Bertolacci abandoned Violet.
Oh, damn. You know, what can you do?
And she, her and her parents, put out, missing person things, think he had been kidnapped or something. At which point, Bertolacci wrote her a letter revealing that he was actually a con man who only married her for a share of the Whaley family fortune, and his name wasn't even George T. Bertolacci, and he actually had another wife.
And he wasn't even Italian.
Violet was absolutely devastated, even more so when her parents forced her to get a divorce from Bertolacci. Because in the letter, he did offer to, come back and prove his worthiness to the family. And her parents were like, nah, you're getting a divorce.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's not even his real name. Girl, they should have said, yeah, come back, and then beat his ass on the site as soon as they saw him.
Violet, meanwhile, was shunned by the community because divorce was a no-no at the time.
Bitch, he lied to her!
It don't matter. You stick by you put up with it. Your husband's beating you. Give him the other eye. You got 2 black eyes. Give him the arm.
Show him the brown one.
Not the infamous 4th eye.
Anyway.
Violet fell into a deep depression and actually had to be monitored by a doctor for it. And 2 years later, in 1885, Violet stole her father's gun, ran to the backyard, and shot herself in the chest.
Damn, that sucks. I'm sorry, girl.
Thomas found her and carried her back in the house where she died. She left the following note behind. Mad from life's history, swift to death's mystery, glad to be hurled anywhere, anywhere out of this world. Which is an excerpt from the poem Birds of Sighs by Thomas Hood, which is sometimes misattributed to Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, damn. Hey, I like a rhyming suicide note, though. There's something about a little rhyme
We
to
love
it.
plagiarism.
Girl, she's dead. Who cares, you know?
That's true. Like, what consequences do you have for plagiarism?
Girl, we know all about plagiarism here on this pod.
Is the devil going to send you to the dean's office? Is he going to report you to the ethics board?
Right, and it's not really plagiarism. Like, did she... Well, actually, I mean...
She did write it, and then just signed it Violet Whaley.
Well, they know where it came from. They figured it out. It's not that big a deal. I just appreciate a suicide note that rhymes. I think there's a little art to that. I think that's nice.
What you mean to say is, I appreciate poetry.
Well, I like suicide notes that rhyme. What's wrong with that?
You saying you like suicide notes?
That rhyme, that have a little art to them, a little pizzazz. Mine's gonna have a little pizzazz.
If I'm ever found dead of a suicide and there's a note that rhymes, just know it was not suicide. Look to Paul.
Okay, I can't even combat that one. You got me there. You got me there, girl.
The scandal of Violet's divorce and suicide was so great that Corinne's fiance broke off their engagement and Corinne ended up never getting married.
Relatable.
Now, following this latest tragedy, Thomas built the family a single-story home on State Street a couple blocks away and moved the family there. Just because, like, there was too much in the house at this point.
That makes sense. There's suicide.
Thomas Jr. dying, the raid, Violet's suicide. It was just too much.
All that diddling all those theater kids did in their attic.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough to haunt you right there, girl.
And you know, as theater kids, so you know, like, the girls were munching pox and the boys were snogging hog.
Oh, yeah. You know what happens at those theater camps, okay?
We all been there.
Mm-hmm.
In 1888, Thomas retired from business, and 2 years later, he died in the State Street home, while the original Whaley House remained vacant and fell into disrepair. Thomas had spent the rest of his life fighting the county in court seeking reparations for the damages caused to the home in the 1871 raid, as well as justice for the physical assault on his wife at that time.
Okay, period.
And the county never paid up.
Damn.
They claimed it was private citizens acting on their own accord. In 1909, so like 21 years later, well, I guess over 20 years later, Francis Whaley restored the home to its former glory and moved back in with his wife Susan, mother Anna, sister Corinne, and brother George. And while they lived there, he did turn the home into a tourist attraction, touting the home's historical significance, and opened it to tours where he would entertain guests with his guitar. He really said, so this is where the 1871 raid occurred, and my mother was held at gunpoint on the 9th step. Anyways, here's Wonderwall.
Right, bitch! That's the joke I was gonna make if you didn't make it.
Wait, okay, that was a really good joke on my part. I'm really pleased with myself. But maybe that's where the 9th step came, because she might have said, this is where I stood, and they counted. If she was like a tour guide.
Maybe. Okay, that would make sense. That would make sense.
In 1913, Anna Whaley died in the home at the age of 80 years old, which is old for that time.
Right. Good for her. Good for her.
Normally you die of dysentery after popping out 6 kids at the age of 18.
Happens to the best of us.
The following year, Francis died in the home, followed by the death of George in 1928. Corinne would remain in the home alone until she had a stroke, and I think she set a small fire to the house in 1953, at which point the county stepped in, gave a stipend for the upkeep of the house and her care, and she died 2 months later in 1953.
Okay, interesting. So they're all dead, basically.
So it should be noted that all members of the Whaley family, except for Thomas Sr. and Anna Amelia, died in the home.
That's a lot of deaths. I mean, the deaths just keep piling and piling up, girl.
Now, today the home is open as a museum and tourist attraction that you can visit. Mm-hmm. You can do self-guided or group tours. But, just like in the early days of the Whaley's residency, there seems to be something supernatural occurring in the house.
They're selling crack in the basement.
Ew, no. The living room piano will play it by itself, often one single staccato note at a time, so think dink, 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 dink.
Okay.
So not like somebody like playing it, and it's not a player piano. It's like an original piano from the time.
Yes.
Chandeliers will swing in rooms where there is no draft or breeze.
I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. God, I love Kesha.
All I can think of is that, do you remember, was it a Vine? I'm gonna swing from the chandelier.
Never seen that one.
I'll have to show it to you off air.
Hopefully you don't.
It's really funny, it gets me every time. Lights will turn on and off with no one near the switch, and sometimes a single lamp will shut off while the rest of the lights remain on in a room. And when the museum calls an electrician to check out the lamp, the electrician will just be like, it's just switched off.
Interesting.
Because you know, like, all the lights are, like, on one switch. Because it's a museum.
Okay, period. Okay.
Doors will open and close on their own. And of course, there are still disembodied footsteps, including the sound of high heels rushing, which is thought to be the ghost of Anna.
Like, because she got, like, robbed or whatever.
Just her, like, running around the house. Like, who would be rushing around the house in high heels? Definitely Anna.
Period. Okay, fierce. Keeping the fashion afterlife. I'm here for it. Keeping the fashion in the afterlife.
From the dining room, the sounds of a large meal being held can be heard, including the sound of silverware scraping china and crystal, like, you know how crystal, like...
Yeah, like clanking and things, yeah.
People have also reported smelling bread and pies and then walking into the room to see nothing out on the table. And it should be noted that the kitchen has not been operational for decades.
I mean, the most disappointing thing about that is smelling the good pies
I
and
know,
not
the
getting
bread.
that pie. That would smell so good.
You can also hear the sounds of children playing, laughing, and running through the halls. People have also heard a baby crying or giggling when there is no baby around, and this is thought to be the ghost of baby Thomas Jr.
Oh, cute. Fun.
I want a ghost baby.
Want?
Well, you won't let me.
We have a ghost child, DJ, and Jeremy is very offended.
He's not possessed yet.
But he's out there. Our soon-to-be possessed doll, the spirit's out there, and he will soon be with us. And you better recognize.
My intrusive thoughts nearly won there because I definitely thought about sticking the entire microphone in my mouth.
Girl, well, we know you like it in the mouth.
The intrusive thought is nearly won. Not today, Satan. Not today.
Maybe next time.
But it's just like you were so serious, and my first thought was, I want to put that microphone in my mouth.
Okay, well, anyway.
Not in a sexual way either, just not. I want to see if it fits. Anyways, I'm not helping my case. People have also reported seeing the impressions of people lying on the beds upstairs, even though there's no way to reach the bed. Like, you know how, like, there will be stanchions and ropes up?
Oh, like a museum where you can't actually get to the bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, you'll, like, you walk in and you see the bed and you turn around to look at something. When you turn back around, it looks like somebody laid there.
That's kind of creepy.
That's very creepy. Figures have also been seen throughout the house. One little girl reported seeing a man in the parlor no one else could see. Like, she was in a room full of people, and she's like, look at that man over there. And there was like, there's no man over there. And it's like, yes, he looks like this.
That's creepy. I don't like that.
Thomas has also often been seen standing at the landing at the top of the stairs in his frock coat watching tours before fading away, which is how they know it's not a real person.
Interesting.
I would love to do that.
What, be faded?
No, to just, like, watch people and then despair. Ultimate Irish goodbye.
Girl, you're a peeping Tom.
No, I just love the Irish goodbye.
No, you love watching people. DJ likes to watch.
No, Paul, I do not like to watch. I like being watched. There's a difference.
That's why he's not welcome back at family reunions. You're welcome, folks.
People have also seen the ghosts of the Whaley family pets, Dolly the dog and Winks the cat, running through the house or in the backyard. So, like, a lot of times people have said, like, oh, like, what's the cat's name? And it's like, what cat? And it's like the cat that just ran across the hall, and it's like, we don't have a cat here. We don't allow pets in the building.
That's cute. I love a cat ghost. I love animal ghosts. I like that.
In the old courthouse, the sound of a gavel can be heard when there's no one in the room and no one near the judge's bench. And I don't even know if they have a gavel up there.
Interesting.
In the old theater room, people will hear old-timey music, laughter, and whispered conversations.
And a lot of slurping. It's so weird.
They've also reported feeling oppressed and that the room is stuffy as if it's filled with more people than are in there. And remember, that's the room where they crammed 150 people in for that performance.
Right.
In the living room, the archway where Yankee Jim was hanged, under the archway where he was hanged, people will feel their throat constrict and have problems breathing or will feel the urge to cough.
Okay.
Tour guides also say that Yankee Jim kind of has a sense of humor because people who walk through the archway, some of them will have a thin red line circling their neck, like that you get from a noose, but they won't feel anything and they won't notice till somebody points it out. And at one point, one girl walked through the archway and got it, and her boyfriend pointed it out, and she ran out of the house screaming without completing the tour.
That's so dramatic.
Yeah.
Girl, that's so fucking dramatic.
But it should be noted that nobody says that Yankee Jim is a particularly bad guy. He just kind of lives with the Whaleys now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like to think that him and Violet got together in the afterlife and they're happy together now.
That's a nice thought. Let's go with that. I like that thought.
In 1964, Regis Philbin from
Regis and Kelly! What do y'all know about Regis and motherfucking Kelly? You better put some respect on their goddamn names.
He visited the Whaley House and reported seeing Anna Whaley. He said, quote, all of a sudden I noticed something on the wall. There was something filmy white that looked like an apparition of some kind. I got so excited I couldn't restrain myself. I flipped on the flashlight and nothing was there except for a portrait of Anna Whaley, the long-dead mistress of the house. You know, a lot of people poo-poo it because they can't see it, but there was something going on in that house.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
If Regis Philbin said it, I believe it.
Right, as long as it was before, the retirement.
It was in 1964.
Oh, okay, he was in his prime then, that's fine.
It was around the time he met Kelly.
There's no way. Kelly is not that old.
No, she's not. She's significantly younger.
Right.
I wanted to make a joke. So, there is another ghost who is not related to the Whaleys, who is not Yankee Jim, and it is a little girl ghost, and her name was Annabelle. She was a playmate, not that Annabelle.
Spooky.
She was a playmate of the Whaley daughters. And one day while playing in the backyard, they got called into the house. And as she was running down a hill, she didn't notice the clothesline. And she ran into it so fast and hard that she crushed her own trachea on the clothesline. And she was carried into the house where she died. And I really like to think that Anna Whaley had a tray of fresh baked cookies, and she was like, "Girls, come get some cookies." And that girl did what I did. She ran faster, harder than ever before. She took herself out for a chocolate chip cookie, and I have never related to something so much in my life.
Low key, it's an awful story, but you can't tell me that wouldn't be funny to see that bitch get clotheslined. You can't tell me that wouldn't be a hilarious America's Home funniest videos or whatever.
Until she didn't get up, I probably would.
It would be really funny until she died, okay?
Honestly, I'm that terrible person because once I start laughing, I find it hard to stop, where she would probably die and I would probably still be like, but did you see her ricochet back?
Right. It would be so fucking funny. Oh my god.
Because she hit that at force.
And she's like,
she got thrown 3 feet back. She got thrown. She didn't fall. She was thrown.
Girl, that's just physical comedy, honey. That's just comedy.
I'm literally crying because I'm just imagining her going, boing.
Exactly. No, that would be funny until she died.
Oh.
Anyway.
We don't endorse child death on this podcast.
But we will bring light to it.
But we will laugh if it's funny enough.
Yes.
Did you watch The Golden Girls growing up?
Yeah.
Do you remember the one episode where Rose thought she was dying? Okay, you obviously don't, so I'm just going to describe it. So, Rose has a heart attack, and before she undergoes surgery, she says that she wants her head frozen and, the girls to get their head frozen, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then she, goes under anesthesia, and she dreams that they all had their head frozen, and they're in the kitchen. And they're talking about how they died. And Dorothy says, oh, at the zoo, at the gorilla pen where it says don't lean over, they mean it. And then Sophia comes in, and she's like, oh, by the way, Pussycat, I sold the videotape of that gorilla beating you to death, and I won. They made it really funny with the boing, 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 and that's all I could imagine. Mm. Anyways, back to the story at hand. People also report cold spots and nausea in specific areas, such as the courtroom. Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved actually, while he was sitting in the chair on the bench in the courtroom, actually felt overcome by this nausea.
Mm.
In the late 1900s, a policeman reported seeing a ghost at the house. He was called when a person saw a woman sobbing in the backyard. When he arrived, he found the woman in period clothing in the backyard. He asked if she was all right, and she turned, smiled, and disappeared.
I don't like that. That's weird. She was looking for attention. Okay, she wasn't in distress. She was looking for attention.
It's just Violet.
Which, relatable.
Always looking for attention, that middle child syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
She just brought it on herself.
That's how it be.
Thomas has also been known to blow tobacco smoke at visitors, specifically women.
Oh.
That's his idea of flirtation. That's how he got the 6 kids with Anna. He'd go,
is it time for the bang bang in the trolley?
clang, clang, clang with the trolley, ding, ding with the bell. That's all the lyrics I know, which is what's saving us from copyright.
Period.
People also will smell Anna's French perfume throughout the house. Because you know how old perfume has a very distinct smell to it?
Yeah.
So, she liked this particular French perfume.
Oh, period. Good for her.
Now, the last story I have is from Victor Santana, who is a long-time tour guide at the home.
Mm-hmm.
One night, he was closing the museum. And he was doing the code to get out without setting the alarm. When, out of the dark, he heard a woman say clear as day, "What are you doing here?" He was so terrified he said, screw the code, ripped open the front door, and ran outside, setting off the alarm. And obviously all the police showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took down his statement. And afterwards they said, okay, you can leave. You can leave, but we just need to get a report from your coworker. And he said, what coworker? And it's the woman in the green dress in the parlor. You work with her, right? And Anna has been seen around the house in a green dress, specifically sitting, having tea in the parlor.
See, that's crazy. See, when the police see it, that's what gets me. That what makes me think things are the tea and stuff. When it's on an official police report, that gets me. That's evidence for me.
And that is the Whaley House.
So, I think we're missing some stuff here. So, why is this cursed besides them being dead? Because, is the curse causing the deaths of the family? What is the curse?
There is no curse, and I just thought the property was cursed.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I went with a very interesting intro that led you to think that there was a curse.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like throughout her life, she's just like, this property's cursed.
I mean, if your entire family died in a house, like, I could see why you would think it was cursed, and then the graveyard and the hanging.
When you think about it, only 2 of them had a particularly gruesome or untimely death.
Yeah, I mean, there's still death in the house, though.
Yeah.
So there's definitely spiritual energy there, for sure.
Oh, my God, yeah. But, like, as for a curse, I don't think there was actually a curse. I think Yankee Jim just happened to live there.
Yeah.
In his afterlife. And that they just experienced what people in pioneering times were experiencing.
Right. And honestly, it's very much giving run-of-the-mill haunting, like apparitions, ghost voices, all that sort of thing. Nothing crazy or special.
But you know, I think I'm willing to say that I believe this being the most haunted house in America a little more than some of the other houses with, like, the big poltergeist or exorcism cases.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, for 2 reasons. A, it is so run-of-the-mill.
Mm-hmm.
But B, it's been documented over nearly a century.
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And so it's like, speaking of Amityville, it's like a little hard to believe because it's like too much, too fast, too soon.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, okay, like they're talking about footsteps, they're talking about French perfume, they're talking about they're talking about like lights flickering, and it's just like, okay, I can get behind all of this. When you do, the walls are oozing green slime.
Yeah, that's when it's like too much. Kind of like that Winchester Mansion. It's a little too much.
And the thing with the Winchester Mansion, like, go back and listen to like my story about it. I couldn't find, like, other than people saying it's been said that, but I couldn't find any substantiated proof of a haunting there.
Right. No. Do I believe this place is haunted? Yes. Most haunted place in America? Maybe. Do I think there's more haunted places in America? For sure. With a lot more interesting hauntings.
Like you said before, everywhere calls itself the most haunted whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, that's a superlative that we can really give out. I am willing to say that it is definitely a location in America that should be noted, not only for its paranormal activity, but for the longevity of it and for the consistency of it.
Yeah, historical significance alone, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, definitely a good place to visit.
I would love to go.
Yeah, it would definitely be very interesting. I mean, even if they did overnights, I would do an overnight.
And unlike some of the places we do cover, they lean heavily into being haunted.
Good for them. Period. We stand that.
Because we just had that talk with Mike and Riley when we were in Chicago about, like, you should, like, be going to these haunted places, like, haunted hotels, and, like, but a lot of these places go, like, we're not actually haunted.
Right. They try to downplay it. But we know what's happening. We know what's going on. We know the truth.
Wake up, sheeple!
Exactly. Wake up, sheeple. No, that was an interesting story.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm very interested. It's very interesting. It very much impressed me. I'm very surprised at how much I liked that story because I expected just another run-of-the-mill, but, like, it's a really good story.
No, and I really like the setup of this one because normally I just do, like, here's the history, here's the hauntings.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked how it was a little interspersed.
Right, there were hauntings throughout.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's nice. It's a good story. I like the Whaley House. Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. Sam and Colby have been there. So we're going to have to watch that later.
Yep, we'll probably have to watch that later. But
I don't have a smash or pass because I looked at all the people from this and nobody was attractive.
Smash or pass the theater kids in the attic. I'm smashing. I'm getting all up in there.
I do love a theater kid. You know, just yesterday, me and Dan were talking in a group chat, and I made a theater joke, and nobody laughed, and I nearly put in there, I need to get some theater friends again.
Yeah, you probably do. You need someone to get that out. Excuse me.
Well, the problem is, like, we're not going to get into this on air.
Right. So, anyway, speaking of theaters, Be sure to get your tickets to our live show so you can see us live. If you can't be there in person, you can get your tickets online. And if you're going to be in there in person and you're over the age of 21, be sure to get your BYOB add-on ticket so you can drink along with us. And if you want to... Sorry, let me start that over.
Wait, is it just the social media stuff?
Yes.
Okay, I can do that. I just thought I was forgetting something about the live show. And please, if you like this story, if you have your own experiences, please connect with us on social media. Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you are listening to us. You can also go, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever other audio-only listening platform, go down into our description. You can text us and let us know your thoughts. If you have your own personal experiences, please share them with us at our email below. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me at my personal Instagram and TikTok at Paulember, Paulember. And as usual, guys, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And if you'd like to follow me, please do so on TikTok or on Instagram at TheRealDeechPowers. And that's all she wrote. So until next time, please get your tickets for our live show. Remember to haunt your forever home and make it truly forever. And keep your grips tight.
And your corks loose. Bye!
Oh, dang. Oh, shit. I gambled away the Piggly Wiggly coupon, too. What's Dana gonna do?
Damn, they took the Lyft app, too. And Grindr. I was just about to meet up with Horty Twink 6969.
Cut!